welcome to episode 4 of Talk That Stick podcast. Today we're going to be doing some season previews for the Buffalo Sabres and the Calgary Flames. As you guys can see, the format's a little bit different today. We're doing it remotely because I'm on vacation, but be the same format as always, just going through a couple teams here, some news and some notes, and having some fun playing some games. So to start off, as always, I'm your host, Matt.
CJ and Jared.
All right, boys. So first thing that I want to talk about is two signings that we had in the NHL over the past couple weeks here. The first one being the Canadians signing Alex Newhook to a 4-year deal worth $11.6 million in total.
Honestly, I think Colorado is going to regret not getting him, to be honest, not getting him back. I think he's a sneaky good player, and I think it's going to be a minus for Colorado, especially with how Ladensov's not going to be playing this year, right? So
Yeah, I think Newhook is a severely underrated player. Like he's not quite at the Barkov levels of underrated, but he's an extremely good player, and I think the Canadians will be very happy with that
Barkov's
signing.
not even underrated anymore. We've heard this for the last 6 years. Dude, he's so underrated, but he's not. He's a ghost in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, I think Newhook's really underrated though, for real. I think he's even his contract doesn't. They got him for a really good price and good term, and that's a win.
Yeah, I think it's a win all around for sure for both of them. And then we had the Lightning extending Tanner Jeannot, who they gave up all their draft picks to for last year to get away from Nashville, but they signed him to a 2-year deal, $5.33 million in total. So you're looking at an AAV of around $2.5 million per season there. That's a deal that I think that's a good AAV for Tanner Jeannot, and I think having him for 2 years as well is pretty swallowable for Tampa Bay.
Dude, he's worth half.
I think he's definitely worth half that.
He's
but,
always a goon.
Tampa's losing all of their depth, man. If you look at it, they lost Killorn. They're getting older. They're not like a team like Columbus where it's like a year more is a good thing, right? It's like the same thing with Boston. A year more is actually a bad thing. So I don't know. It's just they kind of have to pick up somebody, right? So
Yeah, I don't know why that they would sign him to that high, but I mean, unless he's going to sit there and he's going to drop him every single game, that's his only purpose for that team.
do you think he gets scratched by the end of the season?
I don't think so, unless they can bring on some more depth pieces or some of the young guys can push up in the lineup, but I don't see that happening. I think he'll play the entire
Well, I
season.
think Luch is free in a year.
Yeah,
Lucic is free in a year, so
I think Lucic is retiring in Boston. To be honest, though.
Yeah.
Instead of going back to his hometown, he picks going back to Boston.
Yeah, I'm glad he went to Boston, didn't come to Vancouver. If he came to Vancouver, man, I would have been like, all right, let's recreate the 2011 Stanley Cup riots, man. I don't want that guy here. There's no way.
It would have been so perfect if you went to your team after he left Boston. That would have been just another perfect Jim Benning signing, right?
Dude.
Yeah.
For a 1-year league minimum, I'd take Lucic. I'd bring him back to Calgary.
Would you?
For a league minimum, he's not bad because he's just a pylon up there, right? But when we were paying him $5 million, it's okay, this guy needs to retire.
Yeah, I even think at league minimum, you can get it a lot.
Get him on a 2
What?
week.
Yeah, you can get a bunch of other players that serve more utility on a league minimum than Lucic.
Yeah, like Alex Galchenyuk.
He'll do some things off the ice for you too.
Making a league minimum in jail.
You know what? At least Galchenyuk made Arizona relevant for a couple minutes there.
Yeah, that's true. Arizona Coyotes were on the top of everyone's list. Yeah, did you guys see his apology that he submitted? I think it was a couple days ago for that whole.
You know that his publicist wrote that for him.
I think that's some chat GTP apology.
I'm sorry for my actions. I'm signing into player whatever. It's okay.
The player support program. Yeah.
I don't know. He's probably just mad that, he got traded for Phil Kessel and he never lived up to it.
I mean, anyone who gets traded for Phil Kessel will never live up to it. That's just reality of the situation.
Phil Kessel's a dog.
He's got that dog in him, man. Phil Kessel's just on another level. Speaking on another level, there was news that came out last week that Patrick Kane probably isn't going to sign with the team until the start of next year, so looking in January instead of at the start of the season, just because of his injury. I think that could work out very well for some teams if they can bring him in like in January. They're looking to contend for the cup, can sign him for a low cap hit for 1 year and just, buddy, no, he's not going to Calgary. He'll
Can
probably
you
stay in the
imagine Patty
States.
Kane in a Calgary jersey though?
No, I can't imagine that. That's
Why?
weird.
No, but you know what? You know what's a little unfair about that is Patty Kane. Like in January, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, let me check the standings, boys."
Yeah,
What-
that seems looking good.
Yeah.
He's got some cap. We can move it out to deadline.
And then he takes a discount, like a like a league minimum, to go play for the number one team.
Yeah, like just watch like I don't know a team like New Jersey is leading the East, and he's like, "Yep, New Jersey, that's where I'm going." Just imagine that him playing in Jersey, him and Toffoli just
After
ripping it
playing
up.
for New York the year before,
Yeah,
he's
well,
gonna called the biggest snake in the league.
Or go to Buffalo, man.
He should go to Buffalo. Actually, be sweet.
I think him and Tage Thompson. That's a sick duo right there.
He's a sick dude right there.
Well, and he's from Buffalo too, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, going back
Grew
to
up
his hometown.
watching Pat LaFontaine, Alex McGillney.
Yeah, yeah. And then something CJ that you've been talking about a lot that I don't quite agree with you on here, but Carlson, rumors that he's going to either the Penguins or the Canes.
I think he's going to Pitt.
He said he does not want to play for Carolina. So like the deal that Pittsburgh sent for like Petrie, Granlund, and then P.O. Joseph, like it's a little bit of an overpay. Don't get me wrong. Oh no, Ty Smith. Sorry, not P.O. But still, it's a little bit of an overpay. But like at this point, like we're kind of just doing anything to get back into the playoffs, man.
Well, you don't understand why they would unless they're going to retain a good chunk of his salary, which I think that they are as well. The San Jose, no one's going to pick him up for his full salary unless San Jose retains at least half.
No, San Jose like I think has to retain half to get any return. If they're going to ship off his entire cap hit, like you're looking at maybe like
Future
getting what like a third round pick back, a second round pick at most, if you're shipping out that whole salary.
Yeah, well, some teams like to ship out a 78-point guy for a third and a bum. So
Yeah.
they're out there. The GMs are
Yeah.
out there, so
It's happened before.
it
Yeah.
has happened before.
Yeah, it has. Ryan Kessler, who?
Any more Tyler Toffoli, but that works.
Yeah. And then one more signing that happened over the past week, a deal that I think is going to work out very well for this player a couple years down the road. But Keandre Miller re-ups with the Rangers, 2 years, $7.744 million in total. So it's around $3.5 million per season. If this guy can pop off for these 2 years, he's going to cash in after 2 years from now.
They're going to say cash out, but yeah.
Cash out?
I personally I hate the Rangers, man. They're the most arrogant team in the league, in my opinion. They keep knocking out the Penguins too every time we play them.
It's like they're the worst team in the league. They have a terrible fan base. They have an old arena. I can't stand them. They should relocate, but that's just in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's get real into it.
No, but honestly though, like I mean, good for them.
They should relocate to Salt Lake City.
The Rangers moved to Salt Lake.
Dude, Rangers do go in snow. There is snow Rangers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That works. I could see it happening.
No, but it's a good signing though. At the end of the day, I mean, they're such a dangerous team. I don't know about what's going on with Tarasenko, but
So here's the thing that I heard about Tarasenko. So with the Senators moving DeBrincat the other week, there was talks between Tarasenko's agent and Ottawa Senators. So Tarasenko might be going to Ottawa.
do you think
Dude, Tarasenko and Giroux, though?
do you think he fits the mold there
I do.
in Ottawa?
Yeah, I think so. Like just as Jared said, him and Giroux, like just two older veteran players, you can still kind of rip it up, man. It's gonna be good.
Giroux still had a really good year this season, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, he had a decent season, right? So
The problem is like it's just everybody looks to the Tampa Bay trade. That's why I think everybody hates on Giroux, because what happened with Giroux and what's his name from Montreal, the defenseman that he got traded for.
Sergachev.
Sergachev. Yeah,
yeah.
Sergachev. Sergachev is lights out. Like in Tampa, he's great, man. So
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah, he's not great.
He's all right.
I think he's better player than Giroud. That's
Than
for sure.
Drouin?
Who?
Yeah, I mean, he bounced around more than a Surrey girl.
No, I think you have Galchenyuk, man. Galchenyuk's been on way more teams than Drouin has. Druin's only
Yeah,
been on one
You
Galchenyuk's
get
team.
up there
somebody
too.
in a Galchenyuk, you know, hey?
Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry for my. I'm checking into the player program.
You know what? Galchenyuk is gonna go up with the Coyotes to select the first draft pick next year, and he's gonna pull a Carey Price. David, who?
He's up there glitching out.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys, I was lagging out here. Come on, man. You carry
So,
he had to have
oh,
been
sorry,
like
go ahead.
doing something in the back. He had to have been like crushing beers with the boys or something.
Oh no, he was definitely doing something, man.
You know, he's like, he's like, boys, who can shotgun a beer faster than I can? Nobody. I mean, we can try 7 times. Come on, everybody take a turn. By the time he gets up to the stage, he's like,
You know, he's the kind of drunk too that gets all cocky with it too after a couple
he's like,
beers in.
he's like, nobody can chug a Mickey of whiskey faster than I can.
Without me, boys, you wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Remember that 2021 Cup run? I
He's,
am
he's
Austin Matthews. I
Joey
am.
Chestnut of drinking beers. That's what he is. All right, boys. Before we move into talking a little bit about the Buffalo Sabres here and what their season could look like, let's play. Well, not play. Let's have a discussion about what do you guys think is the greatest moment in Buffalo Sabres history. I'll go first here, and for the Buffalo Sabres, I think for a franchise that made the Stanley Cup Finals once, they haven't really done anything significant in the playoffs besides that one run that they did. Their most significant moment in their history has to be their trade for Dominic Hasek, in my opinion. If they don't make that trade, they are an irrelevant team for most of their history, right? Like, I think that trade for Dom put them into cup contention and kept them in that for a while and made that team relevant in that city, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was kind of talking about this earlier because I was kind of thinking about something, and although it's still fairly recent, you guys may disagree. I think one of the biggest things that teams ever done, and like one of the most important things they've done, is trade Jack Eichel. Yeah, I think this. Hear me out for a minute, okay?
Yeah, I'll hear
Although
you.
they ended up in Buffalo, they never came close to the playoffs. As soon as they trade Jack Eichel away to Vegas, they're slowly becoming more of a more competitive team. Alex Tuck has really put up more points than Jack Eichel since that trade, and that's only one piece of that trade. That trade's looking fantastic day by day by day. I think you don't trade Jack Eichel, or Tate Thompson ever gets a chance. You don't see how good he can be. He almost put up 100 points this year. You know, from what I understand, he wasn't very good in the locker room. They've been able to capitalize from what they could by trading him, and I think that's one of the biggest things they've done because now they're close to being a playoff team for the first time in about 10 years.
Yeah,
Longer.
not longer, honestly. I think it's been longer than that.
Yeah, and I think it comes directly from that trade. I think they needed a shake up like that, and yeah, that's kind of what we're going with.
Honestly, I think the best game, going off of kind of what Matt was saying, yeah, I thought he was going to pick the one, but it's got to be the Fog game against the Philadelphia Flyers on May 20th, 1975.
Oh yeah, where the arena just started fogging up.
Yeah, well, and keep in mind, like sorry, the arena started fogging up, right? And then nobody could see, and like the Sabres ended up managing to score 3 goals in the third period, leading to a 5-4 victory over the Flyers. I hate the Flyers too, so it just makes it even better,
Just
honestly.
rubs it in.
Well, and that allowed the Sabres to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time ever in their franchise history, and
Yeah.
it'll always go down as a iconic and unique moment in sports as a whole. Like when you ever see an arena fogging up like that, you don't anymore, of course, but even back then, right? Yeah, unless you call the flood of the Saddle Dome iconic.
I mean, that moment's definitely up there in terms of like arena like sporting events in history. Like one of the other ones that sticks out to me was where all the lights went out for that Super Bowl game in Minnesota. Like that's got to be up there with the fog game as well. So it's
Yeah,
definitely a big moment in sporting history, not just Buffalo history.
I was gonna say the May Day one too.
Yeah,
You know what? I was thinking about that, but I'm like, you guys are probably going to pick it, so I'm going to try to go off the
That was
board
my
here. But
second for those.
That was my
Mayday,
second too.
Mayday.
Best announcer other than
Bonito, 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 bonito.
no,
Nick
Bonito.
Bonino.
Yeah.
Bonino?
I think we can all agree though that Mayday that's the second greatest moment in Buffalo history, even if we have different number ones.
Yeah, I definitely could agree. It could go number one for sure.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made for that for sure. So last season, the Buffalo Sabres got off to a great start, started to tail off a little bit at the end of the season, but they ended up with a record of 42 wins, 33 losses, and 8 overtime losses. They came fifth in the Atlantic and just missed out on the playoffs. And as you were saying earlier, Jared, Tage Thompson had one heck of a season. 47 goals, 47 assists for 94 points. Just an absolutely unreal season for him and a decent season for Buffalo, considering the past couple seasons haven't been
Not to
so good
mention,
for them.
he's had 2 5-goal games this season. That's insane.
That is
Like, that's
insane.
nuts.
Yeah, he just kind of went off there, to be honest.
So the first half of the season, that guy was literally unstoppable.
Buffalo as a whole for a minute there was
They were
unstoppable.
looking sneaky.
They
man.
were
I
looking
was
like they were going to make the playoffs for sure. And
I
then
was rooting for them.
You know what I think they need? I like going into what you were going to say is they definitely need a goalie, and I think they're eyeing up Hellebuck. Can you imagine Hellebuck on that team or Gibson? One of the two, Gibson or
See?
Hellebuck. Gibson would be a little bit cheaper, but dude, if they had either or, they make the playoffs this year.
I'm actually going to disagree with you here. I don't think they have a goaltending problem. Do you know who finished the season for them last year?
Yeah, Levy.
Yeah, I think Devin Levi is a sick goalie. I think he's
Yeah.
nuts.
I'm talking like if they want to make the playoffs next year, I definitely think they need a goaltender, man.
I don't know. Rookie
Levy-
goaltenders always seem to be able to drag a team to the playoffs. It's happened before with Bennington, and it happened with a couple of the Chicago teams, right? So I think Levi could take him there. But I mean, if you're to bring in a veteran goalie, those two options aren't bad.
Yeah, I think Hellebuck would just make it like 100% that they make the playoffs next year.
Yeah. I could see that for sure. And then in terms of departures over this offseason, they really didn't have anyone significant leave, and then they bring in Connor Clifton and Eric Johnson just to beef up their defense pairings here. But their forward core is really looking good for next year. Their top line of Skinner, Thompson, and Tuck, unreal. Second line, Paterka, Cousins, and Olofsson, like just a bunch of young players that can put the puck in the net.
Not only that, who'd they pick up at the draft this year?
Zach Benson.
Our boy Zach Benson.
Zach Benson. Dude, he's actually going to be so good for Buffalo. Like,
Yeah,
I'm so sad but that he didn't go to Pity, but, like, Buffalo's a good spot for him.
Give him 2 years and insert him in this lineup. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be exciting.
I think Tage Thompson's going to be the next captain. Once Okposo decides to,
To retire.
To me, Caposo, I don't know how the hell you pronounce his name. I don't know. Like, I get it why they made him the captain, but at the same time, I'm like,
I thought they were make Alex Tuck the captain, to be honest.
Alex Tuck would get my vote over Thompson. Just a little bit more of a veteran in leadership in the room.
Like, how many years does Caposo have? One?
Have left on his deal?
No, just it's like playing, you think. One?
Oh, playing?
Two?
Two at most?
Yeah.
He doesn't really do much anymore.
That's what I mean. But then again, like, I see that at the same time, like, it's a problem when you get young guys like Bedard, for instance. Like, they're not making him captain first year.
No.
You know?
Talking about Connor McDavid's situation.
Yeah, but
No.
like even like that, like you don't want to throw the C on young players because then they get too cocky with it, right?
What's happened with Jack Eichel in Buffalo? Like, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
The players can handle it.
But yeah, no, I definitely like watch out for Buffalo next year, man. The only thing I'm concerned about is last year they were kind of under the radar. Nobody really expected them to be what they were this year. Sorry. So like this year, I feel like everyone knows that they're coming, so they're gonna prepare a little bit different, you know.
Yeah, they might not shock people anymore. People are going to be a little bit more prepared. Teams are going to come in actually expecting a little bit of a fight, and they might not have a jump in in their points this year. That could totally happen. I could see that. But they're a pretty deep team too, man. They don't just have those top two lines going. You got Jordan Greenway and Casey Middlestat, along with Lucas Rusek on the third line. And then your fourth line, my favorite player of all time for Buffalo, Zemgus Girgensons, Peyton Krebs, and Kyle Okposo as the fourth line. That's elite, man. Peyton Krebs is actually pretty good. I'd put him higher up in the lineup, but just because they want to run some four lines here with their centers, they put him there. But that's a deep team.
Sneaky good.
Yeah, I remember watching him in the World Juniors a couple years back when the American teams are just dominating that tournament. I'm like, this Middlestat kid's gonna be good.
Yeah, even their fourth line seems kind of good too, to be honest, for like a normal NHL.
Except for Okposo, but
yeah, but even him, like,
a good line.
I think they just have him because he's the captain at this point. I mean,
yeah. And then their defense pairs. I'm loving their defense, man. Got Matthias Samuelsson and Rasmus Dahlin as your first pair. Owen Power, like another player I absolutely love, and Connor Clifton as your second. And then your third pair, two solid guys, Ilya Lyubushkin and Eric Johnson. I think just an overall pretty solid D-core that, no real complaints there. Just slightly above average. I love it.
I love Owen Power, man.
Such a good player.
Yeah.
His skating reminds me of a bigger Kill McCarr.
Yeah, it does. Owen Power's huge, man. He's huge.
That 5'10" frame is just massive.
Even Dahlin, like what size is he?
Rasmus Dahlin.
Dahlin, a little smaller. He's not as tall as Owen Power. Yeah.
But they got a big lineup though. For defense, I'm pretty sure.
But Dahlin's like kind of nutty, dude. Like,
yeah. No, he is. Yeah. He's can, at least in my rankings of like young defenders, he's up there with Heiskanen, Makar, Hughes. He's a really good big young defender.
I definitely think in 2 years he's a top 5 defenseman. Top five defenseman
now.
Like honest. Even now, like yeah.
I would say now he's top 5. Like I just mentioned, 5 defensemen there that I think are the top 5 in the league. Like Dahlin's up there. There's an argument to be made for him in top 5 for sure.
What about Victor Hedman?
He's dropped off.
No. He's not in my top 5. He's good.
Do you think he has a resurgence next year?
No.
What about Oliver Ekman-Larsson?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson's gonna light it up in Florida.
Dude, he's winning the Norris next year, right?
He's gonna have an Erik Karlsson season. He's gonna put up like 102 points.
Watch him do that, dude. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. If he does that, you have to wear a Florida jersey for a year.
Bet a prime on that?
No. I just say you gotta wear a Florida jersey, an OEL jersey.
If OEL puts up more than 70 points next year, I'll literally pick my head.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make that deal. If OEL can put up more than 70 points in Florida, I will personally buy a Florida Panthers jersey with Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the back.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds good. I can't wait to see that, to be honest.
Honestly, man, I'm half expecting him to have a decent season down there. I don't know why. Just didn't work out in Vancouver. He was a good defenseman back in Arizona before that final year, and who knows, Florida might just unlock something in that man and he just becomes a beast.
I would laugh my ass off, to be honest, if that happened.
Yeah, it'd be so funny. He's getting paid by Vancouver to not play there anymore, goes to Florida for $3 million and just lights it up. That's just, yeah.
Dude,
that's
off the bag. Team guy.
OEL team guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an assistant in Vancouver, so they thought he was a team guy.
Because who else made assistant? You got JT Miller and Quinn Hughes. I guess
Petey Warren too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But who's the captain there right now? I don't know.
They haven't named a captain yet. Well,
why not?
Because they traded Horvat.
Oh, right.
Who do you think the captain's going to be?
Pedersen.
Hughes.
Yeah, I don't think you give it to Pedersen.
Yeah, no, you don't.
He's not going to re-sign.
No, he'll re-sign, but I don't think you give it to Pedersen just because he's a little bit more of a quiet guy.
I had that kind of hope too, and we all know how that turned out. We all understand that kind of heartbreak. Okay?
Yeah, but you're a Flames fan, all right? It's just your lot in life to lose players.
They just.
It's also your lot in life to draft guys like Ollie Levy before you draft Matthew Tkachuk.
That's Benning. That's Jim
Clayton
Benning.
Keller.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, now you got the GOAT.
Yeah, Patrick Alvin and Jim Rutherford, man. So,
Dude,
so
Trader,
Rutherford looks like he died 10 years ago.
Trader Jim, bro. The problem with Trader Jim though, it's like he's either gonna go all in or he's just not gonna do anything. Don't you
yeah, I
notice
mean,
he did nothing for you guys last year?
no, well, we didn't have cap space last year, so
But
that's
that's
kind of why.
are you joking? Like when he was in Pittsburgh, all he had was no cap space, and we still managed to get Phil Kessel.
It's because you had players who had a cap hit, but were other teams are willing to take that cap on. Vancouver's players who have high cap hits, and no one wants them. That's the big
Dude, we
difference.
traded
Arizona.
Kasperi Kapanen for Phil
Yeah,
Kessel. What are you talking about?
Kasperi Kapanen is the teams would want that player, man. High draft pick who has some offensive upside, who just might have not been a fit in Pittsburgh. It's a big difference between Kapanen and Garland. Connor Garland's a bum.
Dude, Garland was
He's also like 5'4", so there's that.
Yeah, yeah. I could
Make
throw him
him
around the ice. Weighs
I think
nothing.
Garland on another team is good too, though.
Put Garland on the Rangers.
You put Garland on the Penguins. Well, you did good too
Yeah,
there.
please take him, Pittsburgh. Take him. I
We'll
don't
trade
want him.
Granlund for Garland. You could have Granlund
What's Granlund making right now per year? Is it five
five,
something?
five.
Yeah, that works. Garland's at 4.95, I think. Yeah, I do that swap any day.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. I love when we traded for Granlund. They were like, "Yeah, boys, this is our big trade of the year."
It's
Like
gonna put us
expecting.
over the top. Yeah, it's the
I'm,
playoffs.
I'm so happy Ron Hextall's gone, dude. Honestly.
Yeah. Just to bring it back here to the goalies for Buffalo, the goalies for next year, Devin Levi and Eric Comrie going into next season. I think that's a perfectly adequate goaltending duo, and I think they'll do just fine in Buffalo. I don't think they need to go out and get another goalie.
I give it. I agree with you, but I think give it another year or two. It's like that Matt Murray Flurry situation. Like if you get like a Hellebuck for like a season or two, and then let Leve or Levi grow into the player he can be, you're probably better off. That's
You're
how I
probably
think.
better off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how kind of how I think of it, honestly.
Hmm.
I think I don't know. I'm not confident in that kid yet. To be
No.
honest, I'm not really. No, I think he needs to like play a bit more, and I think they should find someone for him to rotate with. I mean, I might be wrong. I think he will be a good goalie. Don't get it wrong, but I don't want them to start him off too young and too soon, and then just break him. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happened to Matt Murray a little bit. I mean, he did win 2 cups, but I think Pittsburgh
Yeah, but what's he done
broke
since then?
that guy.
Absolute
Nothing.
garbage.
I mean, to be fair, that he kind of went downhill after his father died.
Well,
Just got so dark, eh?
It's really dark.
to quote Iron Man, part of the journey is the end.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's deep,
Matt, your
man.
screen's looking a little bummy here. What's going on?
My screen's a little bummy. Yeah. Your guys' screen this entire time has been a little bit blurry, but it's okay. We keep pushing forward, man. Just get pucks in deep, grind away.
Come and chase,
Win will
come
come.
and chase.
Yeah, that's just good old fashioned hockey right there. It always works. It's like what Daryl Sutter preaches. You get the puck, you dump it, and you chase after it. That's how you get your points.
Man, that guy.
Greatest coach of all time.
I wonder how many players are going to that guy's funeral. Like, not many.
To his
Yeah.
when he dies.
All that's going to
Richie
show
will
up is,
probably
like,
go.
14 cousins and fuck man, 14 cousins and like his 7 brothers with another 4 kids on their fucking squad, and then you got Nick Ritchie and Brett Ritchie. He's like, oh, he gave me a chance.
Yeah, I'll go.
He believed in me, and I
appreciate it.
failed.
You better believe both Ritchie brothers are showing up.
Yeah.
Dude,
The whole LA Kings roster from both their Stanley Cup years would probably go.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, Drew Doughty definitely. Dustin Brown.
Toffoli, I heard Toffoli absolutely loved Daryl Sutter.
Yeah, because he's a little weirdo.
That's why he wanted out.
He wanted out. He fired Sutter. That's why.
I actually kind of believe that, to be honest, though.
No, I do.
I'm gone.
Yeah, he plays in the fair with him.
Yeah. So 3 big questions for the Buffalo Sabres this year. The first one that I've got is, do they have enough internal improvement from their young players to compete for a spot in the Eastern Conference this year.
I think they definitely do. And that going off the point of what I was saying before, that they're not a team where it's like Boston, where another year actually hurts them. I think for them, just another year makes them better. So I think they definitely have that advantage to them. Plus, every other team is getting older. They're getting slower, right? Like
Buffalo
Tampa,
is a very young team.
Tampa's getting slow.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, like we've already mentioned, they're getting slow.
Florida is not going to be in any kind of fighting shape come regular season. The amount of injuries that those guys have. Matthew Tkachuk's probably not going to start the season. Neither is Aaron Ekblad.
No, they're beat up, man.
That's what I mean. So, like, I think the Atlanta, I think it's wide open this year, man.
Yeah, I mean Buffalo is definitely. I put them in the group with like Detroit and Ottawa, like three teams that did decent last year and missed the playoffs that are all going to be fighting to get into it. My question then would be who drops out of the East to make room for Buffalo or even a couple more of those teams.
Well, see, the
Like
thing is like, I think Pittsburgh's bouncing back too.
I think no, I 100% agree with that. I think Pittsburgh is going back to the playoffs. I can see the New York Islanders falling out, but then Pittsburgh just replaces them. So then who else can fall out to give Buffalo a chance to sneak in?
I think going back to the last pod, I think you might be right, dude. I think it's Boston.
I could see Boston. I can honestly see Florida if they just get up to an absolute terrible start with
I,
their injuries and they just can't recover.
I think those are the two teams, Boston and Florida.
My money's on Florida.
Florida, dude, they barely made the playoffs this year, so
Barely, yeah, yeah,
that's
and then just
Yeah,
tore it
those
up. But
Florida Boston games next year, though, they're going to be violent. Like,
oh yeah, someone's losing a couple fingers in that game.
Boston's just going to try to run them up. It reminds me of when Boston beat Vancouver, and then every time Vancouver would beat Boston, they're like, "Yeah, that's game 8, boys."
I remember that one game in the first game that they played back in Boston after the Cup final, and Marchand like just threw the hip of the Sammy Salo, basically ended his season. That was and Vancouver won that game too, like 8-5 or something. I'm like, come on, boys, you couldn't like score this many goals in the Cup final last year, and then you go into Boston in the regular season and put up 8 goals.
Because they had
Yeah,
Tim the Violent Man Thomas.
yeah. Tim Thomas was the X factor,
Oh
unfortunately.
yeah, for sure.
I hate that guy.
One of my favorite goalies.
Uh,
I'll never forget him just swinging for the fences of people's necks.
yeah,
He'd
yeah,
probably make a good boxer, to be honest.
You know that guy's going home to punch too. Like
yeah.
if you think about it, like I feel like I don't know what he's doing now, but like I feel like he'll like get to work, have a pot of coffee, like drink a Monster, a Red Bull, whatever, and then he's going home to punch.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a monster guy. He doesn't drink Red Bull.
Yeah, well, Red Bull gives him wings, and he was kind of slow, so.
He's gonna go home one day and his wife gives him any kind of lip, it's just game over. So moving on.
That's not funny. That isn't funny. Okay, Tage Thompson, excellent season last year. Do you think he repeats?
Yeah, I definitely do think he repeats.
I think he goes 100.
I think he gets 100 this year.
Yeah,
I think he breaks 50 goals and he gets 100 points.
Yep.
Dude,
I
and
think that's an easy answer.
I think Zach Benson actually cracks the lineup this year.
No, he doesn't. There's
I
no
think
way.
he does.
I think
No, he doesn't.
I think he gets called up near the end, and then he cracks the lineup.
No. You don't play Zach Benson anywhere below second line, and he is way better off trying to improve his skating, put on a little bit more size before they put him into their top six.
He's not putting on any more size. That's him.
No, his weight.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
getting taller, but you can put on more weight, man.
Yeah, but like I think weight.
No, he's getting taller.
I think weight would make it worse for him, to be honest.
They're gonna strap him between two horses and let him run.
You know what it is?
I'm not
though?
talking about fat. I'm talking about muscle, CJ. Put
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit
I
more
understand
muscle
that.
in his legs.
I don't know. Even
Just
then,
start
like,
slamming whoppers.
yeah,
Hey boys, I'm making the team.
he goes to Big Burger King and orders the pancakes. Like, geez, relax, buddy.
And then Rasmus Dahlin, do you think he's the dark horse for the Norris Trophy next year?
Yep,
No,
I think so.
I think Kale McCarr is bouncing back and he wins it.
I think it'll be between Cale Makar, Miro Heiskanen, and Rasmus Dahlin.
I don't know. The only way that happens if I guess Eric Carlson won it without making the playoffs.
Eric
But
Carlson ain't putting up those points again. He's not getting nominated for the trophy. That was a
no,
one-off.
he's definitely not. He's definitely not. But I definitely think I don't know. I have big faith in Makar this year. How much points did Darlene get this year? I think it was. Let me quote that: 58 points for him this year.
I can see him moving up to 70 something.
Yeah, but is that Norris worth?
Yeah,
No.
if you're close to a point per game, you're Norris worth. The
Yeah,
the the 100-point season that Carlson had is a complete outlier. Defensemen don't do that anymore. If you're a point per game defenseman,
no, I
you're,
understand that. But
you're going to be
still,
nominated for the Norris. So
I don't know. I still think Kale McCarr is bouncing back this year after the offseason he had this year. 58 points for Darlene is good. I think give it one or two more years, develop in the system that he's got and groove with the guys he's got, then I would agree with you. But on this one I'm gonna have to disagree. Maybe dark horse, but
that's what I'm saying. I think he's a dark horse contender. I think you can see him finishing like fifth or sixth on the Norris ballots at the end of the
yeah,
year.
fifth or sixth for sure. Yeah.
I know. I see him top three. I see nominations.
Really. So you think next year when the Norris votes come out, he'll be nominated. He'll be in the top three finalists.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're willing to bet a prime on that, man?
Yeah.
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 Okay, I'll take you up on that. I don't think he finishes top three in voting, fifth or sixth at most.
Yeah, I think fifth or sixth too. I kind of tend to agree with you, to be honest. I
Sweet.
don't think he finishes top three.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he could have a heck of a season and go top three. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think it's gonna
Yeah, you never
happen.
know. It might be like a hamburger situation. It's gonna nuts.
No one can be as have a more of a one-off season than the hamburger man. That was
That was my favorite season when they were throwing the cheeseburgers on the ice.
yeah, so funny. Speaking of funny, well, not speaking of funny actually. Let's switch gears a little bit, and we're gonna spend some time chatting about the Jared's Calgary Flames here and looking at their season ahead. But before we get into that, let's let's play a little game here. Name our starting six Flames of all time. And Jared, because you're the resident Flames fan, I'll let you go first with your pick.
Okay. So for the forwards, I'm thinking you guys might be surprised by who I'm going to pick here. Like you guys might be surprised by who I'm going to pick. Joe
Okay.
Newman-Pick, Jerome McGinley, and anybody else got a guess who the last forward's going to be?
Matthew Tkachuk.
Theo Fleury.
Yeah.
You're not putting Matty Tkachuk in there, eh?
I'm not. No. Those three players. I love Matthew Tkachuk, but they're better, man. Honestly.
And then your D.
My D, I'm going with Dion Phaneuf and Al McInnes. And
Okay.
for my goalie, it's really between two, Mike Vernon or Mika. It's Mika Kiprusoff. Goated.
Yeah.
So you have to.
Solid.
I think
Solid.
for me for goaltenders, I think I agree with Jared. I think it's either Mike Vernon or Mika Kiprusoff. You could throw in Eddie Lack too. Eddie Lack might be up there.
You could throw him in there.
And then I definitely got to say, for my decor, it's got to be Troy Stetcher.
Oh, that's such a good pick.
Yeah,
I
dude,
love
right?
that.
Yeah,
Heart
dude.
and soul guy. If he played there longer, he would have been their all-time leading point getter.
Probably.
Easily.
And maybe Noah Hannafin. Probably Noah
Oh,
Hannafin.
it's another
Yeah.
good pick.
And then for my forwards, I definitely got to go Milan Lucic.
Let's go.
Gotta go
Mr.
Lucic.
$5 million man.
Dude, greatest. He's probably the best player to ever play there, though.
We're dropping your heads of Toronto.
Yeah.
And then
He
I think I got to.
embodies truculence.
Yeah, he embodies Calgary, dude. I
Yeah,
think, and then
he is
definitely
Calgary.
he was there for a little bit. This next guy, but I definitely got to put him in there. Probably James Neal. James
Ooh.
Neal.
Holy man.
Probably one of the best free agent signings Calgary's ever had.
Yeah, honestly, I think so too, man.
Man, you guys are on glue.
And then
Who's the other guy?
So disrespectful.
For my last pick, I probably got to pick Kadri. Only guy on the team to have a cup. Dude, he didn't. Ginla didn't win a cup. Giordano didn't win a cup. None of these
They
guys won
didn't.
cups.
You know
So
who has?
Kadri
Calgary. Yeah,
and Lucic.
and Lucic. Look at this. You're just filling your all-time lineup with cup winners here.
Yeah, my goaltenders didn't win any cups, but
That's
whatever.
okay. You have Lucic and you've
All
got
right, now we gotta move on from this
Kadri.
idiot here. Who's your top six?
Okay. Okay. So I've gone a little bit of a different route than both of you guys.
Oh, it's disgusting.
I love I love Jared. You went for your obvious picks, right? You guys that you'd always have every day in your top six. CJ, went for some high profile names that should have stayed in Calgary for
High
a little bit
profile
longer.
names. Troy Stetcher. He's kidding me.
I went a little bit of a different direction. So what I did is I went on to Hockey DB and I looked up who has played the most games for Calgary and put up the least number of points. So here we go. My forward core: Brandon Bolik, Brian McGrattan, and Craig Berube. Those are my three
Ooh,
forwards.
dude, that's nasty.
It's elite, man. That is a fourth line that will grind you into the ground.
Fourth line. I was thinking first.
You could put him first line. They won't. There'll be a great matchup role. Like no one's getting by that guy, especially Brian McGrattan. Man, I remember he fought Kevin Bieksa. Dude, that guy's a just giant out there.
You guys are so dumb.
Speaking of giants, my defense pairing, I've went with my two boys, Ladislav Schmid and Brett
Oh,
Kulak.
Schmid.
Schmid,
Oh, dude, I should have picked Schmid too.
you should have, man.
Ah,
Those two players,
Troy Stetcher and
unreal.
Schmid on the same line. Can you imagine that?
Oh,
Oh,
dude,
just
that's nutty,
nasty, right?
right? And then I'll go with the goalie that all you guys have mentioned, right? You got to round it off with a bang here. Eddie Lack is my starting goaltender. Sorry, DJ.
Dude, Eddie Lack though? Are we talking when he just joined the Flames, or like when he was like post Canucks?
He only played 4 games for Calgary, and those are probably the 4 best games he's ever played in his career. He put up a save percentage of like 867 or something like that. It was
Oh
insane.
my god.
Goals against average of like 5.33. Ooh, those are like 80s numbers right there, man.
That's your NHL 23 numbers.
My NHL 23 numbers.
Or maybe my NHL 23 numbers.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can't believe you guys are doing like that.
I'm,
we didn't. We just went out there and selected the best team. What are you
Oh,
talking
okay.
about?
That's fine.
that was definitely
I just
probably
listed off a bunch of 100-point scores. It's no big deal though.
James Neal got 100 points.
Not in Calgary.
That does. He said greatest player to ever play for Calgary.
Yeah, that's
James
what I said.
Neal. He scored 100 points. It wasn't for Calgary, but he played on Calgary.
I forgot when Luch and Troy Stetcher when they scored 100 points. I forget when Eddie Lack saved a puck. I forget when.
He saved some pucks.
Dude,
yeah?
there was debate between him and Luongo who was going to start. Remember?
That is true. That is
Dude,
true.
John Tortorella started Lack in the Winter Classic game.
Eddie
If John
Lack-
Tortorella never
awesome.
coached the Canucks, Eddie Lack would be a Hall of Fame goaltender.
Yeah, probably.
No.
What do
Yeah.
you mean no?
I mean, what do I mean? What do I mean? No. If he would have been a good goalie, he would have fucking played. That's how that works. Not if this big crusty guy named John Tortorella with anger issues, tries to run the Calgary Flames fucking dressing room like a dummy. What does he think's gonna happen? He's about to get beat up by 20 guys 3 times the size of him who just don't like him.
So here you go, Jared. You're saying I can't blame a coach for players not succeeding. What happened last year in Calgary?
Yeah, what happened to the Daryl Sutter effect?
He has brain cancer.
Yeah,
Eat
what,
your words, Jared.
yeah, you just kind of
Yeah.
fumbled the bag there a little bit.
See you guys in the playoffs, man.
Oh yeah, that would be fun to see. Actually,
Oh, now we really want to go into how many times you guys beat us in the playoffs?
a couple here and there.
A couple.
Yeah.
It's almost like when we won our cup, we played you guys in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm not a
We
bitter.
won our cup.
I'm not a bitter fan. I'm just a
He's just speaking
sad.
facts here.
Speaking
He's just
facts?
speaking facts. He just named.
Yeah.
You can't hate us for having our own favorite guys that ever played for the Flames or the best guys.
I can
Yeah.
100% do that.
All these guys, I buy their jerseys.
Hockey fan.
Like I'd spend $600 on all of these jerseys, man. easily, any day of the
Yeah,
week.
all Flames too.
All
That's really
Flames.
expensive toilet paper, man.
Speaking of toilet paper, boys, our
Vancouver.
sponsor for this podcast, again, coming in clutch, is no one.
Because we're broke.
We are.
But you know what? That's where you guys come in. Please keep liking, subscribing, and smashing that notification button with the bell. And we will keep talking that stick.
We will. Every week. Every week, boys. All right. Calgary Flames last year. They had, honestly, a worse record than Buffalo. Not going to lie. They didn't do that good. 38 wins, 27 losses, 17 overtime losses. Who puts up 17 overtime losses? You can't get
We're
2
not good
points
for
out of
anymore.
17 games? That's
Dude,
crazy.
if we win half those overtime games, we're in the playoffs. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, fifth in Pacific, you missed the playoffs. Your top scorer last year, Tyler Toffoli, who's now gone, he put up 34 goals, 39 assists for 73 points. Jared, thoughts on last season?
Go off, King.
So, let's get started here. Daryl Sutter, so happy he's gone. I know he's probably sitting in like his fucking lazy boy chair he's had since 1984 in his back living room or whatever, going over the season. He's like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna fire. What's the team gonna do without me? Like, we're gonna win. All that. Okay, here's the thing. He won the Jack Adams like a couple years ago, and like he's done good things for the team at the time. But when you run two 100-point players out of town in the same offseason, that's horrendous. Horrendous. They signed Tyler Toffoli a couple years ago, and he likes Daryl Sutter. That's great, and that might have worked for him. But they trade Matthew Tkachuk. They get Jonathan Huberdeau. So what do we do when we get a 115-point guy who's mainly like a setup guy? He's a playmaker. He's a very like up and down kind of player, not left and right. He's not super known for his defensive like abilities. Let's turn him into a two-way player, right? And let's throw him on his off wing. Let's throw him on his off wing where he's uncomfortable, and then let's just like clown him in front of the media, right? That'll make him play good. And then let's give him some like trash teammates to play with. So, like that'll make him play good. Let's drop a 115-point guy down to the third line because that'll make him play good. Because we only have him signed now for $80 million for the next 8 years. But that'll make him play good, right? It's motivation. So then, obviously that didn't go as planned, and I don't know why. What you want to do is you want to throw as many challenges to that person's play style as you can, and then they'll just do better, right? So we have Nazem Kadri. Let's turn him into a defensive player because defense wins games. So the way I always looked at it is like how you win games by scoring goals, right? So if you're in your defensive zone the whole time, you're not going to score any goals, which means you're going to lose. And then when you go into 3-on-3 overtime, it's almost like you're too scared to get the puck and go. You're not going to score any goals. And then you're going to lose 17 overtime games because you're not scoring any goals. You're not going to make the playoffs. It's kind of a joke. I actually, believe it or not, I think we played quite well last year, all jokes aside. We were one of the highest shot producers in the league with allowing the least amount of shots. Problem was Jacob Marshall let in 2 goals on 3 shots to start the game, every single game. And literally every single game, he set a record for letting in the most goals on the first shot of the game last year.
And plus those overtime losses, man, that's got to be some type of record. Does anybody know off by heart what them?
That one.
It is, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look. Actually, I'm curious.
I think it's definitely got to be up there.
Team had the most OTLs
It is, right?
in one season. Do. Okay, the record is 18. So Calgary was pretty close. It was the Devils in 13-14, the Panthers in 11-12, Tampa Bay in 08-09, and Carolina in 15-16, all with 18 overtime losses. So Calgary was close. Real close.
Yeah, what a record to have, eh? It's not
Yeah,
like the biggest win streak. It's not anything like that, but a record's a record.
yeah. You know what Calgary should do? They should put a banner up, being like second most overtime losses in NHL history.
It's a
Put that
good.
up there in the rafters.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm all
You know, you
for
guys
it,
put
man.
the rafters, Matt. No cups, 2 Stanley Cup riots. Everyone wants to leave town, and you're not resigning Pedersen. You know what you should put up in there? Sidney Crosby's going to retire soon. So is Malkin. You're, like the core is gone. You guys are going to be the new Buffalo. Okay,
And
I'm not going to lie. That whole little game you guys played, it hurt my feelings.
dude,
I was really excited for this, guys. I was really excited for what you guys were going to come up with.
I love how he's talking smack about my team. We've already won our cups, dude. We're the
Never
first.
again.
I know my team's bad. Like whatever you could say, I've already said about my team.
Yeah, we were the first
See,
team.
I don't talk bad about my own team. Though.
We're the first team in the NHL salary cap era to win back-to-back cups.
We're
So,
the only NHL team to have 2 riots.
yeah, so
Yeah,
So
well,
just facts.
we're the
It's okay.
only team to lose 2 100-point scorers in one season because this old head decided to not stay on his farm after he got retired twice. Dude, just ride your fucking tractor and leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
I like the Iginla signing though. The Iginla signing for them was
Yeah,
good.
on a plus side, GM Kirk Conroy. I think he was good for them back in that '04 Cup run. It's cool that he brought Iggy back into the fold. I think he belongs in Calgary. It's cool that he plays special advisor to the GM. Honestly, though, like when I hear that, this makes me think that Craig Conroy doesn't know how to do his job yet. A little bit. That makes me kind of lose confidence in him. But I think he just really wanted to employ Iggy in some way. To be
You know
honest.
what it made me thought of? It made me thought of Dwight Schrute from The Office, assistant to the regional manager. That's what it made me think of. Like, assistant to the general manager.
But no, it was. I don't know. I'm happy. I think all jokes aside, I do think with the new coach Ryan Huska, I think with new GM, it's going to breathe some new life in the room. Calgary is getting a new arena, which also will hopefully attract some people to come there. I know that's been a big thing for people. Like the Saddle Dome's great. Like it's great for what it is, like the nostalgia of like how it looks and stuff. But it's too old, man.
It's the oldest arena in the league now after MSG just
Yeah,
got their
they just got
upgrades.
the renovations done.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to play here, and like I don't know if it's because of the Sutter or the weather or the taxes or the arena
I think it's
or
all
the
of
fans. I think it's all of it, and we need to change the culture here. But I am excited for the future for that team. I don't think we're going to a rebuild as much as I want to go into one. The reason I don't think we will is because if you don't sign a guy like Huberdeau and Calgary those contracts, just a rebuild, just a waste of money. At that, honestly though, like you need to be in a win now zone. I do think Huberdeau bounces back. I do think Calgary puts up about 65 points this year. Hopefully that Sharon Govich kid can find the back of the net, or else that trade's going to look absolutely terrible as the first trade GM Craig Conroy made. I have heard rumblings that Nylander's coming to Calgary. I'm not kidding when I say this. I'm not biased. I have heard rumors that they want to ship out Elias Lindholm and like a third-round pick over for Nylander
I don't think
because
that's enough.
Elias Lindholm's cousin, who played for us, Kyle Yarncroke, right now plays in Toronto, and they're looking for a more defensive center.
I think if you sweeten the deal and if you gave him Hannafin and Lindholm,
It's not worth it.
No.
I think you have.
Lindholm and a third for Nylander is a
It's generous.
perfectly reasonable.
I don't think so. Man.
Perfectly reasonable.
I don't think so.
No, William Nylander, yes, he can put the puck in the net way more often
He's
than Lindholm
younger.
can.
He's faster.
Player.
He's
But
better.
here's the thing. Lindholm, in an excellent season, I think can be a dark horse for a Selke Trophy. That guy is extremely underrated for his
He was
defensive
a
capabilities.
nomination for Selke Trophy last year.
Yeah, but even then,
Yeah.
like
So
you guys are
Nylander doesn't provide that. So Lindholm and a third for Nylander.
It's not enough.
No, it is enough. That's what
I
I'm
don't-
saying. I think it works for on Toronto's end of things.
I don't think it works. Honestly, drop your comments down below, guys. What do you guys think about that one? Because I personally, I don't think that's enough. Maybe not. Maybe don't get Hannafin into that. Maybe okay, I agree. But like Lindholm and what did you say? A second?
Third.
A third?
A third.
Yeah, no, that's not happening, dude.
So we've talked a little bit about what Calgary lost and what they brought in this year, but just to recap for our listeners and our viewers here. So last season in free agency, Calgary lost Tyler Toffoli. Sorry, they traded him out. Lost Tyler Toffoli, the big boy Milan Lucic, and Troy Stecher. And then the only real piece that they add is Yegor Sharangovich. So their top two lines for next year, what you're looking at a first line of Dubé, Lindholm, and Mangiapane, and a second line of Peltier if he can take a step and become a top six forward with Kadri and Huberdeau.
I don't think Dubé plays on the first line, to be honest. The thing with Dubé is he's very fast and he has a nice shot, but they've been rotating him in and out like of the line for so long now. Like he's played first line minutes, he's played second line minutes, he's played third line minutes. Excuse me. I think if I had to guess, if Lindholm resigns, which is a big hope, I think they need to play him with Huberdeau. I don't
Yeah,
like the way Kadri and Huberdeau play together. I feel like Kadri's too selfish with the puck, and Huberdeau's too standoffish with the puck. Like he doesn't want it enough.
They need to put Huberto back on his proper line too.
Yeah, they do. I was
Or
really
wing.
hoping we could sign Anthony Duclair because they have experience playing together, but they didn't,
Mhm.
obviously.
Yeah.
But no, I think if I had to guess, it would be. I think they give Peltier first line minutes, man. The two
Yeah.
French.
So you're thinking Lindholm with Peltier and Huberdeau as your first line.
Yeah, and then Dubé with Mangiapane and Kadri.
Yeah, I mean, all of those forwards can play top 6 minutes. So no matter which way you line them up, I think you get some success out of some of these guys if you move things around a little bit, like you're saying.
Is that a first line though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a solid first line if we're comparing it to
Well,
others?
the biggest question mark is Peltier.
Yeah, that's what I mean too. But like even their depth, like do you think they make the playoffs next year with what they have?
so their depth actually isn't that bad. Their third line, I think, is very average.
Mediocre.
It's middle of the road. Sharon Govich, Backlund, and Coleman. I think that is just middle of the
Backlund's
league
more of a
average.
fourth line guy now, but
Well, yeah, but he has to be a third line center because there are fourth line centers. Like there's nobody there.
that's
really.
what I mean. But
Yeah, and then your fourth line: Adam Ruzicka, Connor Zary, and Matt Coronado. So really,
To be fair
not.
though, when Rizicka was put on our first line last year, he put up like 12 points in 7 games. He was actually popping off, and then they just had to like throw him out of there. I have very high hopes for Matthew Coronado. He was our first round pick a couple years ago. I have very high hopes for him. I mean, he just signed his entry level last year.
That's good.
From what I've heard from all of the scouting reports, he was the best looking player in this year's developmental camp. Said again himself. He says he works hard, has good work ethic. He can finish. He's he can finish checks. Like he's only problem that makes me nervous. He's American, and if he does end up becoming this new blood for the team, what's going to happen in 3 years when he has to resign? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I think if we're strictly speaking this year, I think they go as far as Markstrom takes them, and they go as far as Huberto and Kadri. Those are the three-headed, the three-headed monsters.
Yeah.
Like if none of those guys produce, they don't make the playoffs next year.
hot take. I think Mackenzie Weegar or Rasmus Anderson become the new captains of the Calgary Flames.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I don't really think that's a hot.
I don't
take
think it'd be
either.
Rasmus Anderson, but I hope it does because he's sneaky. He's a very sneaky good defenseman.
I
Can
love
you-
Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah.
He's a good player, man.
He's our best defenseman, honestly.
Your entire top four is I'm jealous of that as a Canucks fan. Like our top four has gotten a little bit better this year, but like Hannafin, Anderson, Uyghur, and Tanev,
Yeah, but
that's
Hannafin's not.
borderline elite.
Hannafin's not going to be there.
I think if they don't, I really want them to trade him now. But if they got to get rid of him as a deadline, at least you can't let him walk for nothing because he's not resigning.
No, I think you hold on to him until the deadline to try and give your team the best shot at the playoffs, and then get a good package for him in return to hopefully continue some of that momentum through into the playoffs. I think
We
is
also
what
have very good defensive developmental players coming up too.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Osterley should be cracking your third pairing this year with Zadorov.
Yeah, Zadorov is also sneaky good offensively.
Yeah,
He's kind of got nice hands.
he's
He
okay.
put up a hat trick in our final game of the season, but that was like already too late to make the
Yeah,
playoffs.
Connor Garland put up a hat trick in Vancouver's final game.
Yeah, it's like, all right, thanks for showing up 81 games ago, guys.
Hey, we lost 5-1 to Chicago. So
Yeah, we don't nick your team in a goddamn shootout.
yeah, you guys lost to Chicago too.
We did lose to Chicago, yeah.
We beat Phoenix in our last game. Sorry, Arizona.
Wow.
Oh, good for you.
Good job.
Yeah. In overtime, 5-4.
Wow. Elite.
So Clayton Keller scored
So
4 goals against you guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice and nail.
But yeah, I think the biggest questions though for next year for the Flames is, the three-headed monster. If they can produce, then I think that you guys make the playoffs. Is that not fair to say at this
Yeah,
point?
no, seriously.
If they
Yeah,
don't, then
We have the talent there, and
you have that.
they need to produce.
You definitely have the talent to make the playoffs. Maybe
yep.
not like a first or second seed, but like a third or a wild card. I
Wild card probably.
I'm
yeah,
I don't think
saying
they're
I
top
don't
two or
trust
three in
you.
the
I
Pacific.
think at best third.
No, there's absolutely no way this team gets into the top three in the Pacific. The top three teams in the Pacific Division, I would take over every single team in the Central except for Colorado, and I'd
Yeah, but
take over most teams in the East.
I think you're factoring in way too much of what happened last season. Like I'm saying, like, what if Markstrom turns back the clock, right?
He won't.
What if Kadri? I'm really doubting Kadri. I'm really doubting him. But Huberto, what if Huberto turns back to 110 points score again?
They get into a wild card.
I don't know, man. He's
Pedersen put up 100
I
points for
think
Vancouver last year, and they missed the playoffs.
I
Like getting
understand,
100
but
points
like
does
I'm
not
saying
push you to
wild
a
card
playoff
one.
spot.
yeah, wild card one or yeah, I think they make wild card. But again, that's depending on the three. And then the other guys you're gonna get rid of anyways, like Lindholm, Hannafin. So like, I don't really think they're a factor
If we
into how they are next year.
if we don't make the playoffs this year, I think we need to blow up and rebuild.
Yeah, if you don't make the playoffs, you're blowing it up. You have to.
When has Calgary ever done a legitimate blow up and rebuild?
Not in my lifetime.
Seriously, dude. Like they've always been just so mid. They've had a few good years, like 3 or 4 good years in the last 10 years, where they've been like quite good, and then they
Yeah.
just nowhere.
Yeah, you're like a slightly below average, like a 17th, 18th in the league type team for the
Dude,
longest time.
going into last season, we were like top 3 ranked to win the cup, and then we
Yeah.
didn't make the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Dude, don't never listen to these TSN like analytics. Like I swear to God, like as soon as anybody makes a trade, they do the same thing with basketball. It's like as soon as like the hot kid or the new kid around the block, you know what I mean, is coming into a new team, like Calgary, like Matt, you and I think half of the world expected Kadri to regress this year. No,
I didn't. I just expected him to just stay the same. I didn't expect any regression or progression from him.
you expected him to be the same as he was in his last year at Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah,
No, dude,
I thought with having Huberto and all those like Toffoli, I thought he would have done just fine.
I think you didn't. You even saw it coming though. With Kadri, there's no way. What did he get last year? Not last year, the year before now, but wasn't it 100 or 80? What was it?
I'll look it up right now. Kadri, hockey DB. So with Colorado, he only played 71 games, 87 points.
87 points. There's no way he does. Like, and then he dropped down to what? What was he this year?
56.
Yeah, so he went back to his Toronto days.
He was 56.
Yeah, he went right back to Toronto days. It's exactly what I saw coming. I think half of the world saw it coming. I'm surprised you didn't see that coming, man, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, thought it was going to do okay with Calgary with the supporting cast that they had around him, but evidently that wasn't the case. Going to their goalies for 1 second, Jacob Markstrom, and then expecting to back him up, Daniel Vladar. I know, Jared, you're very high on Dustin Wolf. Do you think he can fight for the second for the backup job, or do you think he'll be back in the A?
No, I think that they get rid of Dust. I think that they get rid of Daniel Vladar, and then they, I think Dustin Wolf comes up. He's the best AHL goalie right now. It's not even close. So,
Yeah, no, he is. It's no, not close. He was insane for the Wranglers in their Calder Cup run last year. It's really good.
Yeah, no, I definitely think they got to get rid of Markstrom, but there's
can't.
there's no way that it's happening.
No one's going to take him on for $6 million a year, and Calgary would be insane to retain that contract too. Like you need to save your retaining slots for guys like Kadri or Huberto if they just absolutely bottom out.
Yeah, no, honestly, at this point, and it sucks too. I mean, thank God for you as a Canucks fan. Like you don't have to deal with that anymore. So
I know. It's such a relief with the OEL buyout. When I saw that happening, I'm like, holy crap. Let's go.
Yeah,
It might bite us in the butt, but if the cap goes up, I honestly, it's not going to be any worse than like Minnesota bought out Suter and Parise, and they still make the playoffs, right? So
yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
it's it's not going to cripple them when they have a $4 million cap hit in 3 years.
Yeah, and I think
So
Jared's right. Like ever since McDavid, man, in the playoffs, Markstrom was just
he's
he's done.
broken.
He's broken, and it's so
Like,
hard to get your confidence back after getting lit up like that.
yeah. Like,
Like,
remember Brizgalov when he was
yeah,
nasty, and then he played
dude,
those couple series against the Penguins. He was never the same.
dude, you remember that series where it was like a 10-10 game, or like a
Every game.
yeah, every game for that whole series. Philly ended up beating us, right? Unfortunately. But like, dude, those I remember watching those games. It was crazy. It was like 5-6, and then it was like 7-5, and then Pittsburgh would come and rally back, and then same thing with Philly, man. Oh my god, those were the blessed days of like. I know, obviously, speaking farther back, they had great rivalries, but I really loved that Claude Giroux versus Crosby like rivalry, and just
Yeah,
that
that was good
those
back in the day.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally liked it a little bit more than the Ovechkin. They just media hyped it up a little too much.
Yeah, well, Battle of Pennsylvania, right? There's a little bit of a local connection there. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So, the three big questions for Calgary. We've talked about this a little bit, but I like to go a little bit more in depth with this. So, are Lindholm, Backlund, and Hannafin all gone by the trade deadline?
I don't think. I honestly think Hannafin might still be there. I think Lindholm. It's hard to trade. I think Backlund for sure. He's gone. I think he's the easiest one out of the three to trade. To be honest, at this point, I mean, what are you really going to get for him? Like a fifth round pick, fourth?
You could probably get a second, honestly,
Yeah,
just
like maybe.
just
Yeah,
because
if
of
it's
his
like a
better
cup
leadership.
contender
You could,
team, yeah, definitely, I could see it.
yeah,
And
like
plus, you are right too. At the trade deadline, everybody's overpaying for players.
yeah, like I think I disagree with you that Backlund's the easiest to trade. I think Hannafin's the easiest one to trade, just because he is a very good defenseman, and the fact that this is the final year of his deal, like as a rental, teams are just going to eat that up. I think Hannafin is probably the first domino to fall out of all three of them.
Oh, 100%. Without a doubt.
Yeah,
I,
and then
I,
the Lindholm thing will just have to wait on whether or not he like actually tells Calgary he wants out because I don't think he's officially told them that he wants out yet. It's just all been speculation.
What I
But
understand, he's waiting to see how the season goes.
yeah, and that's smart for him, right? Like if Calgary ends up bouncing back, I think he's worked out fine in Calgary the years that he's been there. If they have a good season, I can see him re-signing.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident that Hannafin's or that Lindholm stays personally. I don't think I just don't have any confidence in anybody staying anymore. As bad as it sounds, like as soon as and I think that the culture that they're putting in Calgary, as soon as you don't have any kind of signs that you want to stay, like they'll just trade you. I think that the Matthew Kachuk and Johnny Gaudreau thing they'll never let happen again, and they can't afford to let it happen again. Like
Yeah.
I think Johnny Gaudreau, he did play people in Calgary. No matter what, I knew he wasn't going to resign. I think people had this hope. I think he strung Brad Shilving along. At least when Kachuk left, he like gave him notice. He's like, hey, if you don't, now I'm in arbitration. You trade me, or I'm going to walk. Which I can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate what Hannafin's doing at least. Like at least he did say I'm not resigning in Canada. I
Yep.
swear to God, if he resigns like Toronto or something, I'm stupid. Like he's in Canada still, but just not.
Just in somewhere better.
dude, the quads on Noah Hannafin alone, man, are just nice, man. Have you ever seen that buddy's quads? Yeah, dude, they're thick quads, man.
Sick. Does anyone else ask out of Calgary?
Sorry.
Does anyone else ask out of Calgary besides these three? If let's say the season just goes off the rails, do you think any of these other high profile players ask out like Huberdeau or Kadri
I think Uyghur.
or Mangiapane
Uyghur,
or Uyghur?
Uyghur, maybe Kadri. I think he just signed in
Well,
Calgary for the bag. To
oh
be honest,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
I don't
Colorado,
think Kadri will ask out. He's
Colorado
just
wouldn't give him what he was
looking
asking
great.
for, so he signed somewhere that they would give him what he's asking for, which is Calgary. We're desperate for players.
well,
Yeah,
Colorado made the smart choice not to sign him anyways.
I think if
yeah,
they could have gone for cheaper, he would have stayed, and he still would have produced. He's playing with crazy people. Who's on his line? For
He would have been a better.
Nichushkin and someone else.
He would have been like. I think he would have been like higherly rated if he would have stayed in Colorado. Like he probably would have gone down as a better player than what he is now.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
easily.
I,
Final question. We've talked about this a little bit, but do you think this team bounces back? Like, if we were to put money on it, does this team like sneak into a wild card next year?
I think they sneak into wild card 1. The Pacific is so closely, like this. The race for the Pacific was actually. I mean, it wasn't close to the top 2, but for the last 3, or sorry, the last 2, it was really close. I don't know. I think the Pacific's kind of loaded now, which is weird considering the Pacific's usually the division where like it's pretty easy to make the playoffs.
I remember like a year or two ago, like it was like we were always talking in Vancouver, like this could be our year. The Pacific Division's so bad. Now that I put the Pacific Division up there with the Metro as like the 2 best divisions in hockey.
Yeah, now you've got the Central, who's like trash.
Central's so
give it
bad.
a couple
Like,
years,
it's
the Metro
Colorado,
will
and that's it.
give it a couple of years. The Metro will be pretty bad too.
I don't know. I
Yes.
think that I think if I had to base it, it would be Edmonton first, probably Vegas second. I want to say Seattle third, but or was it the Kings as well?
LA. I think LA sneaks into 3.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I like
gonna
this
be really close, man.
team. Wild card winner.
Like, yeah, like I think in the Pacific, I'm going to throw Vancouver in there, not because I'm biased, but like they did beef up their defense core this year, and so if you can have a better season out of them, I think you have 5 teams in the Pacific that all could make the playoffs if the Central's just absolutely booty, right? Like so, you got Vegas, Edmonton, LA, Seattle, Calgary, Vancouver, so 6 teams I could easily see vying for a playoff spot. So
I'd like to see a Calgary and Vancouver playoff series. Would be fun.
yeah, that would be great. It probably wouldn't happen because you'd have to have them finish 2-3. Neither of them are finishing first,
Or maybe
so
someone needs to make it. Well, I guess they both need to make a deep playoff run, but
yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. So